Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Amy back with another video. Sit down, relax, enjoy, get your snack or your favorite choice of beverage because today I'm going to be telling you 10 hair growth mistakes you're probably making. And I have my phone here for notes. Mind you, this is not in any particular order, but if you're doing any one of these 10 things, it could be the reason you're not seeing hair growth. Number one is using a comb to detangle your hair. I've talked about this in past videos, but if you're a first-time viewer, you might be shocked to hear this one, because if you do in fact use a comb on your natural hair, you might be thinking, how am I supposed to not use a comb to detangle this? Trust me, I've been there, I know what you mean. But hear me out, combing your hair too often or even using a comb just to detangle your curls can in fact lead to excessive hair breakage, especially depending on how often you comb your hair. Now, I'm not talking about using a comb improperly, I just mean in general, period. If you can't give up the comb, then I would try to reduce the amount of times you try to detangle your hair as best as possible. But my personal preference and the thing I've seen make the biggest difference in my hair growth journey is to stop using a comb altogether. I don't care if it's wide tooth, I finger detangle, and that is a solution that I'm offering you if you want to see maximum hair growth in 2025 and all the years to come. Using your fingers reduces the amount of breakage you'll get during detangling while still taking out your natural shed hair. Your fingers can feel when there's a tangle in your hair, and you can stop and patiently, properly undo that knot, whereas a comb doesn't have any sensory of knots, so you can like run your comb through your hair and find a knot, and if you tug hard enough, it'll just rip straight through that knot and other strands of your hair, causing damage and breakage. Number two, not pre-pooing before washing your hair. This also was a huge game changer for me in terms of seeing more growth within my hair care routine. So I used to just wash my hair like normal on wash day, just get in the shower with my dirty hair, and I would be so upset at why am I in the shower for like 2 hours wasting water and I'm tired of detangling my hair. Well, someone, another curly girl of mine, told me to start pre-pooing before washing my hair. If you don't know what pre-pooing is, it is when you take conditioner and you use it to detangle your hair before getting in the shower to wash your scalp. This was a huge game changer. And why does it work? Because using conditioner on your hair to get out the tangles before you get in the shower saves you time on wash day. And who doesn't want less time in the shower on wash day? This can contribute to seeing more hair growth, because if you've already taken out your tangles before getting in the shower with conditioner by pre-pooing, then you don't have to have excess breakage or damage, just like you would with a comb, outside the shower, inside the shower on wash day. You're really just eliminating any unnecessary breakage by doing these things in your routine. Number three, not oiling your scalp. Girl, it's okay if you don't oil your scalp, but if you really want to see maximum growth, you should be oiling your scalp. Oiling your scalp is going to help stimulate blood flow and help your follicles just grow and blossom and expand and bloom. And isn't that what we came here for? We came to grow. Now, is your scalp gonna grow even if you don't oil your scalp? Yes, but in a lot of cases, what I found personally is that it speeds up your hair growth rate within a month's time. If you're like me, for example, and without any hot oil within a month span of leaving your hair alone, I usually get half an inch of hair growth. But when I oil my scalp once a week, girl, an inch of growth. I rest my case. I rest my case. You want them inches or not, okay? So start oiling your scalp if you already don't, because that's probably why you're not seeing a bunch of hair growth. Number four would be changing your hairstyles way too often. I know this one hurts. I used to change my hairstyles every 2 weeks, and I feel like it's very, very common in the Black community, especially within women or women of color, because we just like to switch it up. We love to be creatively expressive with our hairstyles, our fashion, our makeup, like all of that. So I get it, because it kind of is like a cultural thing, you know? However, what I found is that by sticking to one style and having that style stay for a month, 2 months, 3 months, that's the most I've left a protective style in, or any style really, you will see your hair growth. Because if you put your hair in one style and you don't see your hair until like a quarter of the year later, you're going to visually see a difference in where your hair stops. Not doing your hair too often and leaving it alone in some sort of protective style really helps with length retention. And honestly, with all of the tips that I'm giving you, if you don't take away nothing else from this video, I want you to remember this. Look into my eyes, okay? Ready? Length retention, okay? So not changing your hairstyles too often is going to contribute to length retention, okay? Because you're not manipulating your hair, you're not taking it out of styles and putting a new one in, you're not combing and detangling through your hair so often, you're putting it in one style and you are letting it breathe. You're just leaving it alone. You're letting it do its thing. Number 5 would be like having too tight of styles. So I'm talking about like tight buns and cornrows that are too tight for like your wigs or your sew-ins. Things that are just like really snagging at your edges. You'll lose them. You might be able to regrow them, but since that is the part that we manipulate the most out of our hairline, is like maybe the front and or the back, you could see hair loss easily and more quickly with really tight hairstyles. You will run the risk of losing hair permanently if the hair follicle is damaged enough, and we definitely don't want that. So number 6 would be incorrect takedown of protective styles. I cannot tell you enough how many times in the past I have taken down a hairstyle and accidentally cut my hair. You know that TikTok audio that's like, all this work and what did it get me? That's what I feel like. You have to be careful. So with individual braids, what I used to do is I used to take the ends and I used to snip it with scissors, and then I would undo the braid, right? Because that's how we were taught. That's how we've seen other ladies do it. That's how our moms did it, our aunties did it. What I've learned is cutting off what you think is the synthetic hair. You could be cutting off some of your hair in the synthetic hair. I personally just stopped cutting my braids altogether. Don't cut it. Just undo it. Undo it from the bottom all the way up to the top. It might take longer, but I promise you it'll be worth it, because that way you can 100% guarantee you didn't cut any of your hair. And also, other people have accidentally cut my hair when they're helping me take out my individual box braids. Like, I don't even trust other people to do it. Like, if I ever ask someone to help me take down my hair, which I almost never do, but sometimes people will volunteer. If anyone ever volunteers to help me take down my braids, I tell them, you can only help me take down these braids if you don't mind undoing them from the bottom where the synthetic hair is all the way to the root. Because I no longer cut my hair because I've accidentally cut my hair many times. And you know, they'll always be like, oh, I'm not gonna cut your hair, I can see where your hair stops. I don't give a damn, okay? I don't give a dang. I don't. I'm sorry. Okay, I've had literally too many instances, and sure, this person is not the other person, but accidents happen and I'm just not taking any risks, honestly, okay? Oh, and the same thing with faux locks. That's why I stopped doing faux locks, but if you want us to do faux locks, you can. I can't even cut the bottom. How do you take it down if you don't cut the bottom? Because faux locks are kind of tricky. If you don't undo it right, it's just like a whole tangled mess. So I stopped doing them to avoid it altogether, but if I was to do them again, I would try and find the end that I palm rolled together and then like take that out and unravel the whole thing. But honestly, I just stopped doing it altogether, because every time I've installed faux locks, I've snipped off, and I don't mean like a little bit, I mean like I've snipped off like inches of my hair because I can't find the real hair. I can't find my hair. So I just said, I guess we not having faux locks. I guess we're not having faux locks. If I ever get faux locks, just know it's real. I locked my hair and it's mine, okay? Okay, number 7 is having protective styles back to back. Listen. I know. Let me cook, okay? I preach on this channel doing protective styles back to back mostly all year round, because I found that that's what works for me. I see maximum hair growth by doing it that way. However, I do understand that if you never give your hair a break, you might start to see some adverse effect. You could experience, I think it's traction alopecia for 1, and for 2, you could weaken your hair follicle strands because you're always pulling it into different styles without letting your hair just breathe and kind of be as it is. So let me give you an example. I usually do my protective styles for 3 months at a time. January, February, March, let's say, and then new style April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Maybe for like November, December, I'm not putting my hair in a protective style, so my hair would just be in a more natural state of like, oh, I'm wearing like half buns. I'll braid my hair in a ponytail, or I'll do like 2 braids, just a curly puff, something like that, where my hair is out and it's not in a traditional protective style. You want to give your hair time to breathe so that you don't get traction alopecia and that you don't weaken your hair strands strands entirely, because you don't want long hair and it's unhealthy and dead and damaged. Do long-term protective styling, but give your hair some time in between the year to breathe. And you don't have to follow my routine, that's just what works for me. So do what you feel like works best for you. Number 8 would be dry, brittle hair strands, almost correlating with number 7, because if you're not taking care of your hair within the protective styles, your hair can get dry and brittle, and you really want to make sure your hair is moisturized and you do protein treatments every now and again. Hair that is dry and brittle, oh girl, it don't matter what style you put it in, those strands will snap, and it won't take a lot of pressure or effort for them to just disintegrate and break off, and you don't want that. You don't want that. We don't want that. So make sure you're doing your protein treatments to add strength back into your hair and repair any like gaps or damage to your hair. I have the OGX keratin conditioner that has helped re-strengthen and repair my hair strands. Just make sure it's not like a keratin perming solution if that's not what you're going for, if you're not trying to straighten your hair. So read labels carefully, and yeah. Number 9 would be trimming your hair way too often. Trimming your hair too often is like saying 2 + 2 is 5. Like, girl, we need to go back to the drawing board, because no, your hair grows an inch a month, just for example, so that the numbers are easier to digest for everyone. Let's say you leave your hair alone for 3 months, right? 1, 2, 3, so that means 3 inches of growth. At the end of your 3 months, let's say you want to trim 3 inches of hair. Well, if you trim off 3 inches of hair, but you also grew 3 inches of hair, how much is left at the end of the 3 months? I'll wait. 0. And that's an extreme example, but most times you do stuff like that unknowingly. Your hair will grow a certain amount throughout the month, and if you trim your hair every month or every couple of months and you trim it like a couple inches, but you only grew those couple inches or less, you could be backtracking on your progress and not know it. My personal recommendation is to trim your hair 1 to 2 times a year. Some people think that is absolutely insane. That whole notion of trim your hair every 4 to 6 weeks, them ninjas want you bald headed, okay? Let me tell you that. They do not care about you. If your hair grew an inch in 4 weeks, okay, if you cut it off half an inch, cool. So now you're left with half an inch. If you want to do that, you can stick with that regimen. You'll just see slower progress, but that could still work. As long as you know how much your hair grew and you cut less than that, technically you'd be fine. But honestly, it's just too risky, because like, you're not going to do all that. I know you're not. It would just be better to trim your hair fewer times within the year. If you don't feel comfortable with 1 to 2, maybe 3 to 4, but I really stress to you, I wouldn't trim my hair 4 to 6 times a week. Number 10, last but certainly not least, is not trimming your hair at all. So piggybacking off of number 9, you don't want to trim your hair too often, but if you don't trim your hair at all, that's also a big problem, okay? If you don't trim your hair at all and you're like, you know what, we're just gonna go a whole full year and not trim our hair, not a good idea. Because if you get into that habit, you can start to see a lot of split ends and damaged hair follicles that are just gonna keep increasing and increasing until you're gonna have to get to a point where if you get your hair professionally done, or not even professionally done, but get it straightened or however, you're gonna need to cut off more hair than you would have if you just cut it off when needed those few times a year. Yeah, if you decide against it and you don't cut your hair at all, that is worse. Being on one extreme is bad to me, but if I had to choose an extreme to be on, I would be closer to this side of trimming your hair way too often instead of not trimming it at all, because that is, like I said, just as bad if not worse than trimming your hair too often. Because if you don't trim your hair at all, like when it come time, you won't have to just chop it off. Chop it off. Okay guys, that's all that I have for you in today's video. I really hope that you got something good out of it. And yeah, these are 10 hair growth mistakes that you're probably making. Like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you already have not, click the bell notification to be notified every time I upload a new video. Let me know what video you'd like to see next from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate you. I see you guys really, really soon. Bye.